Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We'll start with the next topic, that is FCIP. See, in the previous class, we have seen the protocol called ISCSI. We have seen the concepts which is related to it, that is Internet Small Computer System Interface. And these two protocols are used in the environment of IP-SAN. As we have discussed, see, ISCSI protocol is nothing but it is used to connect host and the storage. But when you come for the FCIP, this is also one of the IP SAN, Internet Protocol SAN environment. When you're using IP SAN environment, this is also one of the protocol, and it is abbreviated as fiber channel over IP. And why this protocol is used in the environment of IP SAN is that when you want to connect two FC SANs, that is, when you want to connect the FC SAN environment distributed networks through IP, that is Internet Protocol SAN, this protocol is useful. That is, FCIP will connect the FC SAN which is distributed or which is located remotely. And what happens is this will virtually create the FC link over the IP network. And also what it does is, as I told, in FCSAN, we have stored the data in terms of frames, and in IPSAN, we store the data in terms of packets. And what happens is when you're using FCIP, FC frames are converted into IP packets. When you're connecting the distributed to FCSAN environment string towards the IP SAN environment, all the data will be stored in terms of packets. There is no data which is stored in terms of frames. And also, why it is required is that, or major advantage is that, it gives the recovery solutions when you are when you have lost some data, or when you can't retrieve the data or store the data. And when you have any type of data related problems, the recovery solutions is very feasible when you're using FCIP. See, this is your FCIP topology, how it works. See, here you have one FCSAN environment with server, storage, and FCSAN environment. And here you have the other one towards your right hand side. You have a servers which is connected to the storage with the help of FCSAN environment. When you want to connect this to FCSAN environment through the IP network, then this FCIP gateway, you can see both the side will be using FCIP gateway, and here also FCIP gateway, which in turn these two FCSAN environment networks will be connected through the IP SAN environment, and all the data it will be stored in terms of packets. This is why FCIP is used when the application, or when the project you are working on, when it demands for this type of topology, then this FCIP protocol can be used. And here we have seen ICSCI stack. As I told in the last class, we have OSI layers, will be referring to the OSI layers. In the same way, here also we have a we have a stack which is related to the OSI functionalities itself. Here you can see the first one is your application. Application is nothing but when you want to connect each other. And here SCSCI commands data status is nothing but when you want to build a session between the two, that is your initiator and the target. When you want to build a session, this layer, the second ICSCI commands data and status is used. And next is your FCP, that is file control protocol. All the details, see, this FCP is used for um, what have this FCP, what is the basic functionality is that it enables FC frames to run natively with the SAN fabric environment. Whatever the data which is stored in the frames, it starts runs natively, or it will be available in local storage so that it is accessed. And also this FCIP layer, what it does is it encapsulates the fiber channel frames onto the IP payload. That is, all the fiber channel frames which will be stored as IP packets, and for doing this will be using the protocol called FCIP. See, will in SAN will not deal how it will be converted or thing. Just we'll see what is the brief functionality of particular thing. And TCP, as I told, it is a it helps in transmission process where the session is I mean session is initiated, and for transmission you use the TCP for transmission of data. And as I told, IP internet protocol, because we have seen in when you have the FCIP protocol which is involved in the both the FC SAN environments, then as I told, data will be stored only in terms of packets. Hence we have only IP, that is IP internet protocol is used to transfer the packets or convert it into packets. And by the last one is physical medium. By this physical medium, the transformation of the data or the communication takes place. This is how this is almost related to your ICICI stack. And here we don't concentrate on frames where all the data will be encapsulated into the packets. And here you can see you have IP packet. With IP packet, you have IP header, TCP header, FCIP header, and you have IP payload. As I told, here FCIP, this protocol is used that all the data which is in the form of frames, it will be encapsulated with the payload. It will be stored in the name of payload. That's it. This is your FCIP protocol stack. And next is your components of FCOE. See, FCOE is nothing but, first we have seen FCIP is fiber channel over the internet protocol. FCOE is nothing but fiber channel over the Ethernet. Ethernet is nothing but when you are connected locally through the LANs, how this process goes on or how the communication takes place. We'll just see two or three concepts related to FCOE, that is fiber channel over Ethernet. And here first we'll see the components of FCOE. See, FCOE has three components. See, the major function of this FCOE is that it should make sure that the data or the any storage which should be available, and the network should be in local, so that it will be available with the node to node transmission. That is the major functionality. And here we have three components. First one is your converged network adapter, CNA. In the short form we call it as CNA. And next is cable, and the last one is your FCOE switch. These three are the main components which will be helpful to make sure that whatever the process is going on through the fiber channel, which will be available locally through your LAN connection. See, the first one we'll see the converged network adapter. See, in converged network adapter, you can see towards your right side, you have the you have the figure how it typically looks. Will not go in detail about each and every chip. Here what happens is this CNA, that is this adapter, is what is the main functionality is that it has the functionality of both NIC and HBA. See, HBA, as I told, it is used to connect through the uh, fiber channel, and NIC is used for the IP environment. This CNA can be connected through the fiber channel SAN and also your IP SAN. And also it also eliminates the need to deploy separate adapters and cables. That is, when the application demands you need to have a separate adapters or cables when you are communicating through FC on Ethernet. This will be eliminated when you use the CNA, where it enables n number of ports which will be used. And also it contains the separate modules for that is 10 GB of data can be stored, which will be allotted for your Ethernet information or FC or FCOE informations. And also all the FC channel frames, that is fiber channel frames, will be here. The main thing of CNA is that the information which is stored in FC SAN is nothing but will not be having the local area network is not used. It will be broadband. For using locally, we'll be converting it to into the Ethernet frames, where it will be available for the nodes or the within the network. The PCs can be accessed. This is one of the component. And next is your cable. See, we have two options for selecting the cable process. The first one is copper based twinax cable, and the second one is standard fiber optical cable. These are all the two cables which can be used according to the application you are working on. And all these components are related to only Ethernet or when you're working on the LAN environment. And when you come for the twinax cable, when you see what are its characteristics, it is mostly suitable for shorter distance, that is up to 10 meters. And also it requires less power and less expensive. And also it uses small form factor plugged in plus connectors. The SFP plus connectors are used to connect the connecting of the cables. And when you come for the fiber optical cable, here this overcomes the distance factor, where you can use this over a longer distance when you when you compare to the twinax. And the main disadvantage is here it is more expensive than the twinax. And this is also used here we use SFP plus connectors for connecting to the ports. And here the twinax is suitable only for the shorter distance, but your fiber optical cable is for longer distance. And twinax is less expensive, whereas your fiber optical cable is more expensive when compared to the twinax. This is the major difference between the two cables. According to the application which you are working on, you can select. And next is your switch. We have seen CNA as component and the cable, and next is your switch. See, switch, it is almost the same, but we'll include two factors or the things which will enable or which gives more features when you're working on the Ethernet port. First one is the switch you are adopting for FCOE, that is fiber channel over Ethernet. When you are connecting fiber channel over Ethernet, the switch provides both Ethernet and fiber channel functionalities. You can see here, when you want to connect for the fiber channel, you can use fiber channel forwarder, that is FCF, and you have the FC ports. And here you have Ethernet bridge, and which will be connected with the Ethernet port. It is applicable for both the FC environment and the Ethernet. And also you can see that all the data which is connected to the FCF will be in terms of frames, and when all the data which will cross the Ethernet bridge will be Ethernet frames. Here you have FC frames for fiber channel, and for your Ethernet you'll be having Ethernet frames. This is just and this is just a difference between the usual switch with the FCOE, where they concentrate both on FCF and Ethernet bridge. See, this is all about the two protocols which we have studied, that is FCIP and ISCSI. One second, I'll just share the next PPT. Okay. See, the next concept we'll be dealing with is network attached storage. See, this is the next concept we'll be studying about in your second module, and it is, in short, it is called as NAS. And this is very important concept, compulsory question you'll get in the topics which is related to NAS, that is network attached storage. See, before dealing with or knowing the NAS, first we'll see what is file sharing environment. See, files is nothing but it has number of the data is stored in the form of files and records, and you have seen what is file in your file structures also. The same thing we will speak about in the NAS concept. Here, what this file sharing environment is that file sharing enables users to share files with other users. That is, in this file sharing environment, the files can be exchanged within the users for their uh, own purpose, and also the creator or the owner who is creating the file or who is storing the file will determine what type of access they can be provided when you are sending to the other users. For example, when you are creating a file, when you are sending to anyone, you can just give an option of viewing, or you can give an option of editing, or you can stop them modifying by just giving the view option. This is one of the thing here. And also, when you are sharing to multiple users, that is, when you are sharing the file in the over the network, the multiple users can access it, and you need to make sure that the integrity, that is, whatever the data is stored, it should not be modified, and this should be ensured in the file sharing environment. This is one of the major bottleneck in the file sharing environment. And some of the examples of file sharing methods are, first one is your file transfer protocol. These are all the methods which is available in SAN for transferring or sharing the files. First one is your file transfer protocol, that is FTP. The second one is your distributed file system, that is DFS. And the third one is your network file system and common internet file system. See, network file system and common internet file system, these two protocols or the methods is used in the NAS. We'll study further how it is used. That is, NFS and common internet file system is used in your network attached storage. And the next one is your peer-to-peer, that is P2P file sharing. These are the four examples which is very popular in the file sharing environment in your applications. See, the next is, we'll see what is SAN. See, the basic functionality of SAN is that it should enable file sharing and storage process. That is, It is an IP based, that is Internet Protocol based, dedicated high performance file sharing and storage devices. See, the first, when you're using just the storage array, it will just store the data and it will be having retrieving or storing process. That's it. But when you're adopting the NAS device, you can see in the figure here, when you are adopting the NAS, what it gives extra features, that it gives the high performance file sharing and also storage device. We'll see in further slides how it is differentiating the just the storage array. And here what happens is, when you're using this NAS, the clients who are connecting, you can see in the figure, the clients who are connecting through the NAS network, that is by using LAN or any source of network, when you're connecting it, when you're connected to the NAS device, it gives the platform for sharing files over IP network. Towards your network, you have the access of sharing files. This is the only only function of NAS when compared to your regular storage array. The main thing is NAS will enable the clients to share the files over the network with the proper security or any of the process. And also it uses the you can we'll see in the further things, it uses the special operating systems that will be used to optimize the file input or output process. It has this separate softwares which will look after the file input and output optimization process. And also it can be used in or Unix or Windows environment, the file transfer can takes place. Basically, the NAS is, it allows the clients to share the files and also it can store the data. It acts as a file sharing environment also, and here it can also store the data. See, here you have a LAN or a network link, and n number of clients are located, and you have the application server and print server is nothing but having a drives which is used to print the document. And you have an NAS device. When you are connecting this links with the NAS device, what happens is all these clients can transfer or exchange the files which is required, and also they can use it. And the person the ownership or the things will be properly maintained. For example, those who are creating or owing the file will have the full access to whom to send and what is the access permission should be given. All these things will be managed by the NAS device. This is the difference between your regular storage array and your NAS device. And next you can see here, when you have the general purpose servers, see when you're using the general purpose server, you'll be having application, print drivers, file system, operating system, network interface, and less storage. Here each and every server or the storage array should have this application to each and every servers. And when the storage is limited, you should go for the next server and you should start storing there. But when you adopt for the single purpose NAS device, what happens is, you have the file system, operating system, network interface, everything is maintained by here. We will, when you're using the NAS device over your storage array, what happens is, you have less dependency towards your server, because whatever the features possible, it will be taken care by the NAS device itself. Because you can see file system, operating systems, and also network interface features is also there, and the storage is very huge when compared to the servers. you can see when you are using the storage array, you have n number of servers and each server is dedicated to do this task, and the complexity will be increased. For this, we have adopted to the NAS devices, where NAS devices will not give much task for the servers, where servers will just route the information and all the tasks will be taken care by the NAS device. This is just an example. And we'll see what are the benefits when you're using the NAS to in the network. What are the benefits is, the first one is it improves efficiency. As I told, the complexity will be reduced, and also we don't want to use n number of servers where NAS will do almost all the jobs. And also it is flexible. Flexibility is also maintained, where storage can be increased or decreased. And centralized storage, see, when you're using n number of servers and a storage array, when the storage array is full, what happens is temporarily it will be stored on the servers, and this confusion will happen when you have NAS. Since it supports the flexibility, it has a centralized storage, and we know that all the files are just in NAS, that is devices. And next, scalability, it can increase the storage, or it can be adaptable for the, because you're using the software part OS also, it it is compatible with anything. And high availability and security is also maintained, where authentication, authorization, and file locking, which is which is available in the industry standard security, which is required for the industry standard security. This all features is available in the NAS, and it is low cost and easy to deployment. That is, deployment is easy to implement, because you are eliminating most of the part of the implementation using the servers or n number of storage array, and you are replacing it with NAS. Hence it is low cost, and also it is easy to implement when compared to the basic architecture. And here, when we see the components of NAS, we'll see the components of NAS. See, here you have uh, two clients, two different clients. As I told, it supports the Unix and also Windows environment. First one is your Unix client, and second is your Windows client. See, when you are want to communicate with the Unix client, you need to use the method called NFS. As I told, NFS and SIFS is the two methods which is used for file sharing. We have explained in the first slide. See here, NFS is network file system. NFS, which is used with the Unix environment, and common internet file system is used in the CIFS. That is Unix, it is supported to Windows environment, and through your IP network, which is connected to the NAS device. Within this NAS device, we'll just see what are the components. See, we have two components of NAS. The first one is NAS header, and the second one is your storage. Only two components. You can see here the block which is heading from the IP is your NAS head, and the second one is storage array. See, in this NAS head, we have network interface and NFS and CIFS, because these protocols should be supported for connecting to the client, and in operating system and storage interface. All this is looked after with the NAS head, and the regular storage is the other part. We'll just see. See, sometimes what happens is this storage can be within the NAS device, or this storage can be out of the NAS device, or externally it can store. Both the options are available with the NAS device, but it depends on the application. And when you come for the NAS head, we'll see what are the components which is included in the NAS head. That is, you have CPU, you have memory, and also you have a network interface cards is also used for in terms of network interfacing. And also you have the protocols for file sharing, as I told, NFS and CIFS. And and operating systems are used for managing NAS functionality, for managing all the functionality related to the NAS file sharing. You have the OS for that. And and also sometimes what happens is industry standard storage protocols can also be included in the NAS head. This is all the components which is included in the NAS head. In general, we have two storage components, that's it: NAS head and storage. And storage, we don't have any extra thing to talk about. Storage is just used for storing the data which is received. And next is your NAS IO operations. See, NAS IO operations is nothing but how the input and output, when how the request is received and how it is processed, and what is the difference between the regular file system and you with the NAS IO operation. This is the picture which is representing the uh, NAS IO operation. The first one is your client. The second, you can see NAS head, and the next you can see storage. See, this NAS head and storage is this overall becomes the NAS device, and the client is accessing it. And you can see here you have n number of layers, which we spoke already. What are the each functionality is about? We have the numbering of process goes on, where one, you have two, three, four. We will be having four transactions or communications which is taking place for requesting the file and for receiving the file. This is how this takes place. And NAS is file level data access. The data which is received or sent is in the form of files. NAS supports only the file level. We don't follow any frames, packets, or block level. No format is used. We just receive or send the data in terms of files. And here the first arrow you can see, which is heading from client to NAS head. You can see the client to NAS head, and you can see here we don't have any server or any middleman between the client and NAS. Direct communication is taken place from client and NAS storage, NAS device. The first one is your the what happens is the client will send the IO, that is input and output request into the by using the TCP IP protocols, and it will be forwarded to the NAS head. That is, whatever the file which is required by the client, it will be sent to the NAS head by using the TCP or IP protocols. So that, and also when it is required, you can use NFS or CIFS. NFS is used for Unix, and CIFS is used for Windows environment. For transferring of data or the request, you will be using TCP or IP protocols, and this request is given for the NAS head. And when you forward this NAS head, what this NAS head will do that whatever the data or the thing which is received from the client, it will be converted to the IO request. That is, sometimes whatever the client format will not be understandable by the storage. Hence, this NAS head will take the request and it will be converted to the IO request into appropriate storage request. It will be converted into the appropriate storage request, hence which is understandable by the storage array. And after that, when the request is passed on to from the client to NAS and NAS to client, what happens is the third point is the storage device will process it, and it will make sure that the file is properly packaged, and the file protocol appropriate file will be transferred to the NAS head, and this in turn will be here we call this file or the file related information and file, we call it as package, and this package will be forwarded to NAS head to the uh, that is client. You can see the first one is the client will request to NAS head, and the second point process is the NAS head will make sure that the request will be converted into appropriate physical storage format, and it will be forwarded to the storage array, and this storage array will process the request and it will give the package is nothing but the file and the file related information, we call it as package. And this package after NAS head, this package will be transferred to the client by using the TCP or IP protocols which is available in NAS head to the client. This is the 4-step NAS and IO operations. See, in the first module, we have seen the file system operations, how it works, and this is almost different than NAS IO operations. When you're using this, when you're using the file system, we had n number of servers to pass on and storage to pass on, and we have include all the virtual systems, but NAS made this in a simplified form. And as I told, as I mentioned, we have two common NAS file sharing protocols. We have already known about it. First one is your common internet file system. This is used for your Windows environment, and network file system, it is used for NFS environment. And this common internet file system is used mainly used for remote accessing, that is when you are communicating with the remote accessing process. And NFS is used for within the network. When you want to communicate, this NFS is used, preferably it will be used in within the network. This are all the two protocols. When you get for the examination, it may be for 4 marks question for explaining the file sharing protocols. For your syllabus, we'll be studying common internet file system and network file system. Okay, I'll just stop here. 1 second, I'll record the attendance.